Well, I thought I would talk about our rotational grazing or adaptive grazing or managed grazing, whatever it is that you would like to call it. But it's all about growing grass and using livestock to manage it. And I am going to talk today about our 23-24 rotational grazing on a winter stockpile and what the results of it was, and did we meet expectations as planned. So good morning, girls. That's the herd, which makes up 18 cows and heifer calves and yearling heifers. You can see I've got hay down there for them, and they're bedded down in it. Of course, that's what they like to do. So I'm going to start you on my 2023 to 2024 winter feeding schedule for the livestock. So November the 8th, I split the herd up to, I moved all the spring heifer calves and moved them down to the small hay field. And planned on leaving them there all the way until spring this year. And then I took Ferdinand and 2 heifer calves that had not bred, or at least didn't show positive on the preg check, and I moved them over to the west goat lot. And I took the rest of the herd with Buster, which was a total of 14 in the herd, and moved them up to this paddock here, which is 2D, and staged them for a day before we started fall paddock rotation and get ready for moving them into the winter stockpile. So this is paddock 8C. This is springtime now. You can see the grass is starting to grow, which is good, part of the green up. We still haven't got into the spring flush, but we are seeing some of the grasses come on. So this is where I start my fall rotation, and I've talked about this before. There is a total of 15, well, counting the lake paddock, there's 16 paddocks in here, vary in size, mostly in the almost 1 acre size. And again, you can see how the grass is coming back on here. So rotation started on November the 10th, and Ferdinand, he spent his whole time over in the west goat lot. I ended up feeding 2 bales of hay while he was over there. And we're going to go on up here. I'll show you a little bit more. I'm just going to walk through these paddocks real quickly, just give you an idea what they look like now. And basically, the goal was to rotate for as long as I could, getting me as late into December as I possibly could before I started them on the winter stockpile that I had put away. I was hoping to get 2 full rotations through here, And so we started out with daily rotations where we could. If it was pretty short already, I sent them in for a half a day and moved them to another paddock that evening. That's our lake paddock down there. So this is the back side of paddock number 7. There's 8 paddocks in here. This is the water station. I've got it covered to keep any debris out of it till we begin using it. I actually have the water turned off to it. Don't want any floats failing without me coming up here once in a while. So this is paddock 7C. And you can see it's still pretty short in here. They did eat it down short on me. And I guess I purposefully let them do that. Up here a little ways, you'll see the grass is a little bit longer. I think there's a little bit more fescue in there. Some other early spring grasses. They've started growing already. So this corner of paddock 7, I'll just pan around here a little bit. You can see there's a lot of broom sedge in here. It's not quite as bad as it once was, so we're improving, but I could probably bring some phosphate in here and help this an awful lot. But we're just going to use it with intensified grazing, and I'll do some bale grazing once in a while, bring some more nutrients in. So we're going to see how that works. Go down here to the green gate and open that up and go through, and I'll show you where we're at with our fall rotation. So this is paddock 6C. It's one of 4 paddocks, smaller paddocks, in paddock number 6. I have brush piles over here. There's a large, extra large actually, oak tree that's died a few years back that I need to get down. If it falls the wrong way, it's going to take out at least my fence and maybe my neighbor's fence. So we're going to have to do something with that. Got elms that are dying, which I don't mind that, but they just make a mess. So I've got some work to do there. There's a limb that came out of that tree. So over here is paddock 6B. And on December the 16th of 2023, I brought Ferdinand and his 2 heifers, and Buster, I moved them through actually on their second rotation. They came around and we moved them in here, which is paddock 6B. And 6B, as you can see, I didn't graze it extra hard. They find the stuff they like and graze it pretty hard while they're in here. I thought I was going to get a week in here, but it ended up I got 5 days. Probably could have moved them out in 4, but I knew it wasn't going to grow anymore, so we let them go ahead and eat it down. I moved them here in the paddock 6A, and they ate in here. You can tell the grass is in better shape. They were in here 5 days, but this grass has already started coming back a little bit faster than what it was over in the other paddock. And over there in that wooded area, I call that the northwest grazing corner. They went in there when the weather got really, really cold. We had some below zero days overnight that came through. And I set up 3 bales of hay over there and locked them in back there. I gave him access to water after this pond here froze up. I opened up the water station in number 4 and let him go over there and drink. Now this here is paddock 5B. They were in here again. It was about 5 days. I left them in here. You can see the grass is not too bad. Fescue's coming on. We don't have a heavy amount of fescue on the farm. It's a mixed variety. There's orchard grass and annual rye that comes up. There's perennial rye. We got some Timothy in here. Of course, we got some of the summer annuals that come in. All together, this is paddock 5A here, and it is one of 10 paddocks that we had let grow up from July the 29th, I believe, until December the 16th when we started doing our stockpile rotation. It's coming up. Again, they were in here either 5 or 6 days. I think there was a little bit more grass in here when they hit it, and might have left them 6 days or at least 5.5. I did utilize the woods over there for about 2 weeks as cover and allowed the cows to go from 6D, which is just right here, through the water station and then through 4C, and then I had a little gate open up over there for them so they could get into the wooded area if they wanted to. They didn't have to use it all the time, but I did find a few of them up there when the weather turned cold. So this is paddock 3. There's 4 paddocks in here as well, A, B, C, and D. And C and D I had used for rotational grazing in the fall, so there wasn't much grass in there, and I didn't let them in here in the winter. But I did let them come in here in A and B. And I think we got 8 days out of the 2. I think one of them had a little bit more grass in it, and then of course A is a little bit smaller paddock, so you can't leave them in there quite as long as the other paddocks. I don't think there's a full acre in there, more like a little less than 3/4 of an acre. And this is one of the water stations that I put in January. I'm still having a little trouble with this one. The tank is leaking, and it's holding about a foot of water in it, but if I try to fill it up, it comes up around here where the ground's still kind of loose. I went down through here the other day and picked up rocks and took the tiller, tilled this up a little bit. There's a lot of rock in this ground here. And then I overseeded it with a classic mix. And you can see the seed laying down here on the ground. It's got ladino clover, red clover, Timothy, perennial rye, and orchard grass. And I think there's a little bit of trefoil in it. So it's a good mix. Does not have fescue. I'm not big on the fescue. I know a lot of people say it's what saved Missouri, but I just don't prefer it. It's okay to have it in here. It's here. I'm not going to try to kill it, but I'm not promoting it. All right, so now we're back to the first paddock I ever built. It's about 2.5 acres in here. I usually have it subdivided into 3 paddocks, but I think I'm just going to divide it in half this year. I got a pond that's just over that hill, and I think I'm going to run the hot wire over the top of that water and split it in half so that I've got a drinking source for whenever I bring the cows in here. It's a good place to hold up the cows. It's close to the barns, to the house. Spring calving, if you got one that's looks like she's going to be a problem, or if you got your heifers having some issues, you can hold them up in here. So this is paddock 1C, or 1A, I'm sorry. And this is where we ended our rotation with the bull and his herd, which was a total of 14, 13, I remember, and yeah, it was 13. And the date that we ended this was February the 7th. So just to kind of recap, the estimated feed that the bull and his cow herd ate on the stockpiled grass over the approximately 52 days that they were on the stockpile amounted to about 440 pounds per day of feed. So that's kind of an estimate. It's an estimated weight, 1,200 pounds average on the cows. I mean, some of them weigh 1,200. The bull definitely weighs more than 1,200. I got some heifers that probably are smaller frame cows that weigh in the 1,000 pound, and some heifers that are probably 900, and some that are about 750 or 8. So I just went with 1,200 pounds for my average weight to calculate how much feed they probably ate. And so like I said, Ferdinand, he stayed over in the west goat lot, and there was stockpiled grass over there. So along with that stockpiled grass and 2 bales, round bales, weighing about 900 pounds probably, he made it to February the 7th from December the 16th. Actually, much longer than that, from November the 10th to February the 7th. And on March the 15th, well, let me back up. On February the 8th, I pulled the bulls out of the herd. I put all the heifers and all the cows together, and I moved them down to the small hayfield, which I had stockpiled from June 1st of last year, and had my yearling heifer calves in there. I had 5 calves, and then of course I had BJ, which he's the steer calf that died out on the pond during the cold weather. But so I estimated that those heifer calves were eating somewhere between 70 and 75 pounds a day in feed. I gave them hay, supplemental, and they were in there until March the 15th. And on March the 8th, I had moved, no, February the 8th, I had moved the 13 cows and bred heifers into the small hayfield with them. So altogether, I had them in there until March the 15th. And they were grazing at, well, it worked out to be 515 pounds per day. I've calculated they were eating, which is equivalent to 18 large square bales or 18 900-pound round bales. So I showed you where I've got the herd parked right now, paddock 2C. I'm feeding them a bale of hay a day. They're going to be there till April the 15th. By then, I hope that the spring flush will have started and we've got 8 to 10 inches of grass height. And my plan is to start rotating them. I'll start here in 1A, which I think I'm going to take this and change it around, like I said, and I'll probably start them 1A, they'll go to 1B, and then jump over to paddock 3. And we're going to do half-day rotations. That's my plan. And move them through quickly, let them snip off the tops of everything, and then we'll move them back around again, which that'll take about 15 days. So by the 1st of May, we'll be ready for one-day rotations and let them have fun and enjoy the green grass. And we should be well into calving season. That's scheduled to begin April the 6th. So we're not too far away. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. We'll continue to give you an update.